all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
Welcome to the No Fruit Podcast,
where we talk about our life experiences with a spiritual twist. Hosted by Maurice
and Kafa. We hope you enjoy today's episode. Hey, everybody. How are you doing out there in the world? We're doing all right here in our little corner quarantine.
Right. We're about to get off of punishment, I guess.
Oh, my. A lot of people are getting off of punishment.
Right.
Some people need to go back on punishment.
I know, right?
I mean, springtime is coming, winter is ending, and folks are acting crazy, Maurice.
Already? Oh,
my gosh. I'm looking at the news and social media, and spring break just shouldn't have happened. They, broke all the way out.
Well, unfortunately, when people, I'll put it like this. I'm not saying people are animals, but caged animals, animals don't like to be caged up. They don't like to be tamed. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? So, in the same token, we're just used to being able to use our free will, to move about, to do what we need to do. And I think, for overall, we just don't like to be told what to do, to be honest. Even from a kid perspective, you don't like being told what to do. So
as you get older, sometimes you don't want that either,
right?
So just, I don't know, folks are just out here just going, I don't want to say they're going wild, but like you said, hey, they've been in shelter for quite some time, and now that they have that freedom,
right,
they are expressing it, and I don't think it's much different than what they would have before, but it just looks different and it looks strange to us, because we know that there's still a lot going on, and we're still in a pandemic. No one said that, hey, we're all clear,
right?
We all have a good, clean bill of health and we can move forward. So we're not there yet either. So it just looks a little.
I think what's happening is, with the states or the government, local, both local and federal, with everyone trying to relax some of the restrictions overall. And then you have some states that's like, look, we don't care about no stupid mask, and, we're just going to buck it. And I can't remember what country that was where they didn't even worry about masks and stuff. Let's say, hey, we're just going to rock out with it.
Wow.
One way or another. So I think some people have been looking at places like that. I can't remember the country offhand, but they did not press. And to be honest, their outbreak wasn't as bad as some of us.
Well, again, they may not live as close and on top of each other as we do, but, it just impacted everyone differently.
Right.
Like you said, in different countries and how they handle things. They might have better water, they may have better other, food, whatever it might be. It just may be a different thing, but it's just really interesting how these young adults are handling things. As much as they've been told to do one thing, they kind of turn around and do things differently. And I know our youngsters are growing in age, and they're young adults, and the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. When he gets old, he shall not depart far from it. So some things have been happening, not necessarily at our household, but out in the world. So we've heard a little bit about a young adult, and not even all that young of adult, because this person was
he's in his 30s.
In his 30s. But having a communication with his parent, and it just kind of turned left. It really went in another way. And we're just hearing so many different things about it.
Right.
And whether or not the parent really should have come at the child in that manner. Like, he really came hard at him and kind of cursed him out, put him in his place, told him how to get there, all of those things. And unfortunately, we don't know the whole backstory. But just to give you some information, there's a gentleman, and he had a child with a woman, a young lady, when he was a teenager. And then some years later, he married and had 2 other children, and his wife that he married came to the marriage with a child. So it's truly a blended, mixed family.
Right.
This person that we're speaking of, the adult, the parent in this, is well known, is popular within the church sector. And this information kind of came out because he and his son had exchanged some words over the phone, and the son recorded it.
Right.
For whatever reason it may be, and then shared this information, a portion of the phone call, on social media. Now, let me stop right there. Folks, PSA, public service announcement. Social media is not there for you to share and air your deepest, darkest, dirtiest laundry. It's just not. I just don't see the purpose of it, that you feel as though that's where you have to go to be heard. And Maurice, we have family members that do the same thing. Like, why do you decide to do that? It's one thing to call a good friend and say it. It's another thing to write it down in your journal.
Right.
It's another thing to bow down before the Lord and pray about it. But I just don't understand, like, why people.
So I'm gonna tell you
want to do that.
My point of view on that. When it comes down to individuals who feel like they have been missing something, they try to find an outlet one way or the other, good, bad, or indifferent. I think they're trying to find an outlet. So in this particular situation, with this young man, with his father, knowing that his father is very well known, I believe he just wanted to get attention, because it seems as though he has not been getting the attention per the father, and a PSA out there to the world saying, hey, we have been estranged for a long time. This is not the first go round. And as you stated, Kafa, people did not see the before nor the after after that particular recording. And
then, there's before, like there's things years before, that came out again on social media.
Right.
That it just felt as though, like, hey, let me share this diary entry with the whole world.
Right.
This is how I'm feeling. I feel threatened. I feel unappreciated. I feel uncared for. I feel, detached from my family. And when, again, I'm not in that place. I don't know what people are looking for when they share that in that area.
Well, I think, like I said, this particular individual, being the son, I think it's a cry for help. I think it is attention seeking. And here's the other part of that. As we're speaking about this right now, it makes me think of another very well-known person who married a young lady. I don't know if they ever even married, but he had taken on her son as if he's his own, and then ended up having 2 other children with this lady. Right now, the son's father is actually another very well known person in the same industry. Right, so in that situation, you don't hear about the son bashing neither person, anybody whatsoever.
Right.
And just so happened, I believe the mother died. So the stepfather, quote unquote, seemed as though he's taking on more of a role in everybody's life.
Right.
Even though these children are adults right now, and very well old adults. So, but I believe that it depends on the situation. I think it depends on what is the idea that you put out there. So understand that, hey, one individual we're speaking about the major story about this is a gospel recording artist, where the other person is just a regular recording artist. You get what I mean? So
I mean, with that, I guess we can say, do we put too much?
I think we put too much
reverence in whenever it's a gospel artist over just a secular artist. Do we put more reverence in, someone who's a church leader versus someone who's a regular business?
I'm not sure if it's a reverence. I think it's just, how can you tell me and teach me about Christ, and that we should guide our tongues, our hearts, or this, whatever it might be. And then you have a moment where you break down and you're no longer following that. I think we have an unfair expectation on individuals that's in that light, i.e. a pastor, a bishop, an apostle, a teacher, a preacher, whatever your role might be. I think that we have such a level of expectation, period, for that individual. And I don't think it's reverence. Some of them I don't think it's reverence. Some of I think it's just, hey, you're in this position. You're supposed to be this. You are my example. And once you fall from that tree, once you fall from off that cliff, how do you even get it back from that individual? And that individual, I think it doesn't. I think people are always looking for someone to fall that's in that position.
Right, but you put them up there. I mean, I think a lot of times those folks don't ask to be put on those pedestals and ask to be put up that high and ask to be looked at as a fine piece of china or,
I think it depends.
Like
I think it's a case by case.
That's the hard part that, that's our expectation that they wouldn't be scarred, or wouldn't be tainted. And then when you look closer and you see that it's tainted, then you're broken hearted or feel some kind of way. But it's like, well, why would you? Like, it's still a person. They're still human. They're not Jesus. They're not God. Yes, they're following and in that, it's almost like the doctor who smokes or the dentist who chews gum or, whatever it might be. Like, you would think like, okay, well, you would know better. But we're still human. We still have issues and whatever. We're still working it out. And I can't be mad at a doctor that eats a double cheeseburger. Like, sometimes you just got a taste for that.
I mean, I think it's a case by case, individual by individual basis. I personally do not. We keep
putting these blanket things on folks, so it's we don't even look at it case by case.
I mean, and what I mean by case by case, so I don't have the same expectation from the individual who has something to say to his child as someone else may. I mean, I don't feel like he needs to be canceled, and that's been one of the major things going on is like cancel.
Right. So, I mean, the individual that we're talking about has had a history of issues. Those who know him, You know, he dealt with pornography. He dealt with some other issues. He dealt with financial issues. He dealt with contract issues. Like, there's just been so much there, and wasn't asked to be canceled then.
Because it was,
I mean,
what's the best
he
way to
came
put
out
it?
and said, I've battled with this,
But I think that's
whatever
an
for
individual
years.
thing.
And, but I guess that was okay to sit there and say, okay, I'm battling with this. And, I had some contract issues. I did business a little bad or whatever. Like, well, that was okay.
I think that's an
because
individual
I cussed at my
thing.
teacher. I mean, I cussed at my child.
I think it's the image. You're coming at another human being, I believe.
I mean, I think it's because he shared some of that information. He said, I am battling with this, versus his wife coming out and saying, oh, this is what my husband is doing, and ooh, shame on him. Likewise, his son coming out and saying, look at what my dad did. Y'all think he's all good. He ain't.
Well, but see, I don't think people are really.
I think that, we put that hate on people, and, for what? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I think he, those situations have been, as I was stating earlier, are individual for him, right? When you said whatever he was battling with internally, right? Versus coming at another human being. I think that's a different situation. More importantly, I believe it's the child. They're looking at him coming at a child. I think they don't. What people are not getting is that he's coming at another adult, not necessarily my 10-year-old kid.
Right.
And I think we get all tied in with that, and not understanding like, he's coming at a man, 33-year-old man.
Right. And if you've been estranged, then that might be what that is to you.
Right. More especially if I keep reaching out to you. And it's funny because Kyle, we listened to a radio personality the other day, and he had mentioned how who spoke about this particular topic. He mentioned that maybe, just maybe, he had given too much to this son, regardless if he was estranged or not, and he became so spoiled that when it was time for him to stand on his own 2 feet, and we're just speculating. When it was time for him to stand on his own 2 feet, and he's like, look, that check is no longer coming.
Right.
That support is no longer coming, and that means what? His lifestyle might have changed.
It did. I listened to the sister who's his half sister, and she said it. She says, Daddy helped you get into college and you flunked out. She says, Daddy, did whatever. She says, what grown man is still expecting allowance, is still expecting a check, like you're saying.
Right.
And then on top of that, I even heard his mother. His mother was like, boy, we've been trying to help you since you was little.
Right.
Me and your father have co-parented you, so you coming off like he hasn't been there, but he has.
Right.
So I think, again, there's just some things that are true and some things that are not all the way true.
And see, I think that's where, and I know we've kind of spoken about this from the secular perspective, but when we look at it from a spiritual space, right? I believe, even though the father has always been there, but at some point in time, he has given you the option of discernment. He has given you the opportunity to, I'm drawing a blank.
Make some of your own decisions.
Right. Yeah, I can't remember the term now.
I'm here. I'm your
Thank you. So when God has given us that opportunity to go left, when he really wants us to go right, but he already knows we're going to go left. So, he's going to sit there and wait until you come back and say, Lord, forgive me.
Right.
I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, Daddy. Whatever the situation might be.
But okay, so if we want to put the spiritual on it and put this Christian perspective of it, so, here, the Father being God, depending on what time frame you're speaking of, he would have cussed us out. He would have cussed us out and put us in our place and told us, "Dummy, you should be doing this." Like he's done that. Like it's in the word. He slapped some people around. He might not some
just
people.
I mean, he didn't just shake them. He didn't just slap them around. He turned some people to dust,
right?
To salt, like So it wasn't all about oh yeah, let me just slap your hand,
right? But but in the end, he wasn't going and apologizing. To anybody for the way that he reacted. And
let's also keep this in mind too. Who was one of those major faithful gentlemen, Job, where was he at? He was chilling and what? Doing what? He kept getting attacked a whole time, right? Mm-hmm. So when you think about, even when you are doing right, you are a man in God's, favor, you could still be doing right and still get all jacked up, but I guess it takes that moment of you. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to turn around and curse him, back, or are you going to still thank him and praise God? Right. I'm not saying in the secular sense for the son to praise the father. Right. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying to lift him up that point, but at least at some point in time, just say, you know what, Dad, you're right. I'm sorry for the way I've acted. Mm-hmm. And forgive me. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
So I think, we need to.
And it's a way. I mean, even if the father, if the son has that discernment and knows, well, Dad, you know what, you ain't always doing right. You know what I mean? So, but it's a way to say that to your father respectfully.
I mean, I think that, that's all the son was doing, from that recording perspective. But again, I think the spoiled brat in him was coming out.
Right.
And again, we don't know the before, and we definitely don't know the after. Mm-hmm. We don't know if he was talking to his dad and was like, Dad, I'm looking for 30 grand. Mm-hmm. And the dad is like, for what? Because best believe I would ask the same question. And if the sister,
especially if you've been in a situation as a parent and you keep giving, come on, be real.
Right.
And, when you have a child that you keep pouring into and nothing grows from it,
right.
We're going to be no fruit about it.
Right,
so,
right.
Right. If.
No pun intended.
No, all the pun intended. So, but if I keep pouring into my child.
Right.
And I keep making provisions and making ways and you don't make anything of it, it's hurtful, and then I have to go to the Lord and say, Lord, like, what do I need to do? And sometimes you do have to show that tough love.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, how many times have you given something to anybody, period, and they didn't turn anything into it? Mm-hmm. How many times have you given something to someone and they buried it or put it underneath a bushel or something, right? And you're like, well, I didn't give it to you to do that. I gave it to you for you to multiply it to some degree, right? And it being your child is the same analogy. It's the same situation. Mm-hmm. My mom used to say all the time, people are people. You get what I mean?
Right.
And you can't control them and all that type of stuff. And that's why this particular radio personality who mentioned, like, hey, you can't pick your blood family. Mm-hmm. You can pick your family, meaning those that you choose to surround yourself with and like-minded persons, da-da-da-da-da. But when it comes to your blood, no, those are individuals you can't change by them being your blood, more especially your children. Mm-hmm. And so how do you deal with that? How do you manage that? How do you continue to pray and fast and light incense, light a candle, go to the mountain, whatever it is.
Hopeful. It's just really, really hard when you as a parent, you want the best for your children. Like,
right.
You know that, hey, God, you gave me these as a treasure, and I'm trying to do right.
Right. Right.
And then if a kid keeps going left, like, that's just hard.
Well, let's also keep this in mind. I think at some point in time, you have to understand that it's easier to do wrong than to do right. And if you as the parent used to be out there in the street doing whatever, I know for me, just some of my own ills and faults or whatever else, I'm just hoping that it's not so thick in my blood that it didn't rub off on my children. You get what I mean? And I thank God every day that my children have not been in any trouble that will keep me up at night.
Right.
You get what I mean? Now, granted, they are on the cusp of being 100% adult. And
that worries us sometimes.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. But I would like to say that at some point in time, just like this recording artist, you're going to have to cut the umbilical cord to some degree. I'm not saying snip it off and throw them all the way to the wolves, because I'm pretty sure that this father is not doing that. I can almost guarantee that, because what parent wants to do that to their child, regardless if he's estranged or not, right?
Right.
But there has to be a limit. There has to be some type of limitation. Whether you have 18 kids or one child, at some point in time, that particular child will have to learn on their own. You have to give them rope. And that's one thing that, as far as my own personal walk, I have to realize I have to give my children some rope in order for them to learn.
Right. In order for you to learn as well.
Right.
So it helps you to grow as well. So it's just, I'm just going to say I'm a parent, and it's hard, to go either way, to give them enough rope that allows them to fall. It's just like when the kids were learning how to ride a bicycle, and, I just wanted to leave the training wheels on and whatever, but I broke down and said, nope, they got to take the training wheels off. They have to learn how to do this.
Right.
And it was hard, running up and down the street. I didn't want to let go, but I remember my trials and tribulations with learning how to ride a bike. But
I mean, look, they ran into some bushes and
right. Well, luckily we had bushes. We had grass for them to fall into, and I would tell them, like, hey, when you feel like you're not gonna be able to do it, just fall in the grass. Fall in the grass.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot easier than falling towards the cars or on the cement.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, telling them to do that, they never really figured out the break.
That's all right. Because they don't have no bikes
they
no
just
more.
fall.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, they figured out. We did get bigger bikes, and eventually, worked
It just
out.
took them forever because they just always just fell in the grass, which it was funny and sad at the same time. It was more funny, though. And more importantly, with them not wanting to fall into the grass and not really understanding the break. They would just use their feet, so at some point in time, they went Barney Rubble on everybody, but the reality is you have to learn one way or the other. You're going to have to learn how to stop yourself, whether it's the conventional way or unconventional way. You're going to have to find a way to put on the brakes and say, you know what, I need to figure this whole situation out a little bit better.
Right.
Whether I need to turn around, go back up the hill, come back down the hill. And in the case that's in my mind, with the kids going up and down the driveway, on their bikes, going up and down the block, they had to figure it out one way or the other of how am I going to get to a point.
Good parents and allowing them to do that.
Right.
And that's how God is with us, that He, watches over us, but He allows us, like you said, Maurice, to have that, able to make choices.
Right.
And, make our own decisions.
Yo, why is it? I still can't think of what it's called.
I don't know.
Yo, I know we can make our choice, but that's not what it says. That's not the
That's
term.
not the term that's coming to mind.
My gosh.
Somebody will put it in.
I know, right?
Put it in there and send it to us. Let us know what he's trying to say. If everybody know what Maurice is trying to say, that the Lord gives us something.
Oh my gosh. It's like, how you have that one thing that's just like on the tip of your tongue and you just like, yo.
Free will.
Yes, free will. Yes.
And we used to go to Free Will Baptist Church.
Yeah,
and you couldn't
right.
think of that.
Yeah, I was
Shout out to Free Will.
Yeah, right. Free will.
Yes.
But I want y'all to, continue to support us, because we had it's funny because the individual that I was talking about a couple weeks ago about the Pepsi, he contacted me, talking about let's go to breakfast and have some Pepsi, but I would love for y'all to listen to that episode and tell us why we were talking about some Pepsi. And I'm telling y'all right now, this fast, like for dinner, I really want a Pepsi. For what we were eating, I really want, certain meals, man, just makes me want to have a soda. And I'm really struggling with that. I really need y'all to pray for my strength.
Pray his strength.
But I do appreciate each and every one of you for supporting the Entrepreneur Impact Network. Again, a great turnout. God really blessed it. Way above and beyond my own expectations. And he's putting a whole lot before us. And we have some great ideas for the No Fruit podcast coming up. I think y'all going to be excited. Y'all going to see some things popping. But continue to pray our strength.
Amen.
And you know what? Hey, Kafa, what do we want them to do?
Maurice, we want everyone to stay fit with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow, share, comment, and subscribe to the No Fruit Podcast.
Continue to listen to us on your favorite podcast channels.
And look for new episodes every Thursday.
We thank y'all very much for listening to us.
May God bless you all.
Peace.
We all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once, and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist-recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.